Annyeonghaseyo, konnichiwa minasan, sawali tukun. Today we are going to talk about delinquency. Now, if you guys don't know what delinquency is, it is basically what Sandeep Reddy Wanga would do to 16-year-old boys if he gets his hands on them, which means make them the pseudo alpha males, quit school or hardly attend classes, and then just watch them actively ruining others' lives. It's basically mafia but PG. So delinquency is kind of a prevalent genre in anime or manhwa or mangas or even any form of media, and I am not a biggest fan of this genre, but I think it can be done right, and it can be done very well if you back it up with good writing. And Windbreakers excels at it by bringing us lovable characters and reasonable fights. Now, in Windbreakers, every fight has a meaning, every fight is treated like a conversation, and you see the characters grow and evolve with every fight. And even though it has a very shonen-esque term, it is balanced with some slice of life elements and some little moments of warmth that actually put a smile on your face. Even though it is questionable why cops or schools don't exist in this world, you can buy into this because the characters feel very simple and very believable. Sakura is a very good protagonist who can kick people's ass but also seeks to improve, and how his motivation goes from being the greatest or number one at Furin to actually being one with the people in Furin and trying to protect the town and standing up for what he thinks is right makes it very endearing. And also he has yaoi undertones with Suo, and Windbreakers just gets a bonus for representation and yaoi undertones. Okay, now if you compare it with the Tokyo Revengers, it looks like you are comparing a gourmet buffet with Krishna Kutir. Guys, I know why some of you might like Tokyo Revengers, okay, but the only thing that motivates me to watch Tokyo Revengers is Mikey. I cannot, for the sake of me, like Takemichi. I think Takemichi is hands down the second worst protagonist to exist in all of anime, only to Legoshi. Because Takemichi wants to become a delinquent just because he dreamt of it. Why? Why would you want to dream of being a delinquent? Like, why would you want to dream of quitting school, hanging out with the bikers all day, and then being like, okay, this is something I want to do now? Like, where are your parents, Takemichi? I know you live in a grand ass house, like it was shown here. So, like, did your parents ever stop you from doing this? And then Tokyo Revengers kicks into a completely high gear of stupid when Hinata's dad, being a police officer nonetheless, agrees for Hinata to go out with Takemichi, who wants to be a delinquent and who is already halfway there because he has been hanging out with Mikey and picking fights unnecessarily. So we know that parents exist in this anime, which means Takemichi's parents have not done a good job with him. And also, I don't get why Hinata has to stay with the Takemichi and how Takemichi hasn't gotten over Hinata. Like, bro, you could have just stayed an otaku and it would have solved all your problems, okay? And basically, Tokyo Manji Gang is such an unbelievable gang right there. I feel like it only thrives on Mikey's leadership and nobody else is worthy. And how Takemichi became the leader of the first division is also beyond my understanding capability, because Takemichi literally does nothing. Like, dude can take a beating, but only because he has a plot armor. If he didn't have a plot armor, I think Takemichi would be dead already, okay? And giving Takemichi time travel powers did not solve anything, because dude ultimately lost to a 14-year-old, okay? And don't even get me started on the villain of this series, the magnum opus, Kisaki Tati. I'm so sorry. Okay, Kisaki Teta is ultimately the villain in Tokyo Revengers, but he kind of had a crush on Hinata at first, and then he realized that, oh, Hina likes Takemichi, and Takemichi is a delinquent, so maybe Hinata must be into delinquents, which is kind of already wrong. So Kisaki is just like, no, now I'm going to build a stronger gang than the Tokyo Manji gang, and I'm gonna use all these people, and then I'm gonna cause a fight. And by the way, guys, Windbreakers has excellent choreography in action sequences, okay? Every fight looks like two actual people fighting and two actual stuntmen doing their job. Like the fight sequences are breathtaking and they make for cool Instagram reels. But for Tokyo Revengers, the fights are pretty boring because it's Takemichi taking all the beatings, okay? And it's not like every fight is treated as a conversation. It's just them looking at Takemichi and being like, oh, okay, this is a knockoff of Thorfinn taking 100 hittings just to meet the prince. What the hell, man? And then Takemichi is just like, okay, so now I have to save Mikey at the end of the drama, which we will see in the further season of Tokyo Revengers. And also, Takemichi just wants to get a happy ending with Hinata at the end of this, okay? And credit where credit is due. Some of the deaths are done pretty well. But also stealing the credit, nobody has to die in this delinquent manga. Why are people dying? These are just 14-year-old kids. They can do so much more. Okay, and I know that delinquency is kind of prevalent in these areas of Japan, but my guy, you can also choose to do a job. Like, have you ever heard of that? And also, there are schools and police in Tokyo Revengers. So, like, what are they doing? And where the hell are the adults in this show when we've been introduced to them before? Like, honestly, there is one scene in Tokyo Revengers where Mikey just walks into a class and then calls Takemichi. And the teacher is just like right there. And I am like, how did Mikey even get into the school and have the guts to do that? It's just so weird to me. And don't even get me started on how this story is riddled with time travel plot holes and pointless, inconsistent characters throughout its 3-season course, because we would be here the entire day. Okay, so that's why Tokyo Revengers just doesn't work for me. And while we're on the subject of trashing the delinquent genre, let's talk about lookism, okay? Now, yes, I know most of you people here consider lookism to be peak, the second coming of Christ or whatever, but I hate lookism. Guys, I went into lookism expecting a commentary on Korea's toxic beauty standards and how looks don't matter in the end. It's just your personality, and no matter what you are, you can be great at anything, and you just have to believe in yourself or whatever, okay? And I thought it was going to be a very meaningful, life-changing story or whatever, that this guy with 2 bodies just has to accept his first body, which is kind of conventionally unattractive, so that he can just prove to the world that, listen, looks don't matter or whatever. And we are going to get into why this guy has 2 bodies, okay? But no, lookism, after a few 200 chapters, turns into a delinquent manga. Lookism did not even start out as a delinquent manga, okay? Like, you have a million other arcs and a million other introductions of the characters, and there is this one chapter where Park can choose whether to know the mystery about his 2 bodies or whether to know about this guy named James Lee, who was the owner of his second body or whatever. And he is just like, no, I need to know about James Lee. Why? Why would you do that? The entirety of the community was looking forward to this mystery being revealed on why does Daniel have 2 bodies, okay? But it just didn't pay off because Daniel, like an idiot, chose to know who James Lee is, and he should unite all these 4 gangs because ultimately Crystal's dad would tell him the secret to him having 2 bodies. Oh my god, I kind of dropped lookism after that chapter because it was not getting interesting. And also, I cannot bring myself to care about Vasco or Zack or Crystal or whoever the hell is popping up like bunnies in this manhwa until you solve the mystery about Daniel having 2 bodies. And also, where the hell is Dokwa? Okay, like, Dokwa is not seen after he kind of becomes a rapper. Are we just supposed to believe that the industry is not a cruel place and it won't fire Dokwa at any single point of time? Like, okay. And then after that, we also have Daniel's friend who went to the prison, and then we have an entire cheap crime story over there, which I think would have been done better by Vikrant Massey, but okay. Like, conventionally, Daniel is not that attractive. I don't know why people treat him like a god, but I guess people have different tastes. And honestly, Daniel being treated like a god is just too much. And don't even get me started on Daniel and Crystal. These two have absolutely no chemistry together. And no matter how many panels of insane fights you cover it up with, I can't even get invested in it because I don't care about any of these characters. Like, how can you expect me to move on from Vasco when Daniel's character arc is not even resolved, okay? And lookism does have adults being involved in it, and it also has police, but like, these kids are going to school, okay? And nobody has to be dead here. Like, you only have one guy who dies, but the other kids have some tragic ass backstories. Like, oh my god, man, why do you kids have to go through this? And I will say that lookism is at least better than Tokyo Revengers. We also have Daniel just beating the shit out of everybody and then being happy with the plot armor, okay? And then we have another fighter introduced, and then after that, people are just like conspiring against each other. And honestly, I don't care which gang has which gang, and then it just gets too chaotic, okay? I would rather enjoy Yakuza stories than this. And the irony is that in terms of Yakuza stories, we only have Banana Fish, which is kind of pretty good, and then we have Twittering Birds Never Fly. Otherwise, we just have Yakuzas trying to quit their job and becoming babysitters or housekeepers, which is honestly very, very refreshing to see. Which means even people know that Yakuzas are not going to work long term. So, on that note, I kind of think that delinquent animes can be done well. And I think that in terms of drama, we only have Not Me that handles all these aspects pretty well. Like, Windbreakers does not delve into the dark side of actually being a delinquent, but Not Me actually does, because you have seen what happens to Black, and you know that White has to ultimately deal with the darker side now that he is in place of Black. So I highly recommend you watch Not Me on YouTube. It'll just be a masterpiece, and you will almost feel bad for watching it for free. But I honestly think that Not Me gets a lot of things right, which the manhwas like Lookism or Tokyo Revengers couldn't. So, on that note, I will end my rant on why I cannot put up with delinquent animes which are done pretty lazy. And if you enjoy this video, then thank you so much. And if you also have some other views regarding this, then feel free to drop it in the comments below. I cannot appreciate you enough for being with me till here. You've got nerves of steel. So, arigatou gozaimashita. Kiyo tsukete. Kamsahamnida. I'll see you in the next one.